I'd like to talk to you today about kids' beds. The trend that we're seeing here at Comfort King in the last few years is we're seeing less and less people coming in shopping for a kid's mattress. So it's left me wondering, are there no kids anymore, or are people buying them on the internet? Box beds. It's probably that. That's probably the answer. So I'd like to address that and talk a little bit about why I think that's a dumb idea. I think buying a bed online is dumb. I understand you can get something cheap online, but for one thing, there's the idea of supporting your local community. Chances are, if you got kids today, if they're in any kind of sports or activities, some local company is sponsoring them to help pay for that activity. And it's good to buy local. It's good to support your local community. You drive in local streets, you go to local schools, you shop at local grocery stores, you might go to local church. You live in a community. You don't live on the internet. And so why take your hard-earned money and send it to somebody in a different state or a different country? When you spend your money locally, you're feeding your community, you're contributing to the employment of other local people like yourself. And so that's a little plug on why you should buy local. But aside from that, I think the idea of kids' bed is, a lot of parents think, hey, it's just for my kid. They can sleep on anything, which is kind of true. I don't disagree with that. Little kids are fortunate where you can put them on a lot of different surfaces and they can fall asleep and stay asleep. And so as we get older, it becomes a little more difficult to get comfortable. We get heavier for one thing. But however, that doesn't mean your kid's bed should be the cheapest possible thing you can find, because if you do that, if you buy a bed online or some box bed, some foam core mattress or something cheap, you're probably not going to get as many years out of it, long a life out of it as what you think you're going to get. And that way, what happens, you're not saving money when you have to spend that money again in just a few years. So if you have a child under 10, for example, and you're going to want to get at least 10 years out of it, then you should buy a bed that's actually built to last 10 years. And here at Comfort King, we only make beds that are going to last a minimum of 10 years because we don't use cheap foam. And that's what's filling these cheap mattresses, is cheap foam. So when you're buying your kid's bed, you shouldn't go the mindset of how cheap can I get away with it. I mean, my advice, and the advice of a lot of people, experts, is spend as much on your mattress as you're going to spend on shoes over the same time frame. So if you're planning on getting 10 years out of a bed or 15, think about and calculate, what are you going to spend per year on shoes? Because anyone with kids knows you're going to have to buy at least one pair every year, probably more like 3, 4, or 5 pairs every year, depending on if they're in other activities. And if they are in other activities, well, you're probably spending a lot of money there too. I know parents that spend upwards of tens of thousands of dollars every year just to have their kids in the particular sport. And look, let's be real. Your kid is extremely unlikely to make it to the pros. So all that time and money invested in that is not really an investment. In some cases, it's kind of a waste of money. But that's besides the point. My point is, if you're going to spend that much money on a sport activity, you should invest in their sleep. Sleep is important. And it's not just about spending money on a mattress. That is, you should spend something, you look at the budget it out over 10 years or 15, divide the price by 10 or 15 years, and your per year price, it could be $50, $60 a year. And I mean, you can't really get a pair of shoes for that. So you don't have to just spend like $200 on a kid's bed and be the cheapest possible. It doesn't really make any sense. And the other thing is, how much your kid sleeps is important. The hours that they sleep. One of the things I talk about, I learned when my youngest was a baby, we had to buy a sleep program because he was having trouble sleeping as a baby. And so I learned a lot about children and how much they're supposed to sleep. Babies sleep a lot, like over half their life. But as kids get older into the toddler years and then into the older years and the teen years, they don't need as much sleep, but teenagers still need at least 9 hours of sleep. 10 is better. Middle schoolers, definitely 10. And so you should block out that time. Don't let your kids stay up till whenever. block out that time. Make sure they're, no matter what activities they're in, because a lot of your coaches or your teachers or even your doctors don't really emphasize the amount of sleep that we should be getting, especially kids. And it's crucial to their learning. You know, kids, you pack stuff in their brain all day so they learn, and then when they go to sleep, it reinforces those memories. It keeps the knowledge in there. And so sleep is extremely important. It's important for everyone, but for kids in particular, we want them getting about 9 to 10 hours of sleep. So that's what I wanted to say about sleep and kids and mattresses today. I realize, we're in a downward economy. We're in a recession for sure. And I understand that, and things cost a lot of money. You don't have to spend a lot of money necessarily at Comfort King. We have 19 models, and we have several good models on our lower end of the price spectrum that will definitely work for kids' beds, that will get them into a comfortable mattress that's supportive to their spine as their spine's growing all the time, and they'll last a long time. So think about that next time it's your time to buy a kids' bed.